What's up, guys? I'm Jack, and this is Daisy. Daisy, come here, say hi. There you go. And welcome to another video. So, I am back at it with Hades 2. It's been a very long while since I've done a Hades challenge, but with the release of my video essay about the protagonists of the Hades series, I figured I should come back and do a challenge run as well. Oh, link in the description for that. It should have come out like the same exact time as this, so you'll see it. Anyway, today is the day that we find out if we can beat Hades 2 with only our cast. And of course we're going with a surface run because that is a bit more difficult. Now, a couple of things to note. Hecuba, the dog that we're using, gives us more mana, so that is super helpful. And the staff that we're using is the aspect of Circe, I think? Future Jack will correct me on screen if I'm wrong, but yes, the aspect of Circe. And what that does is it makes a second cast wherever our pet is, and a damaging laser between myself and my pet. It's free damage, so of course we're going with that. So I did have to reset the run a couple of times because we just didn't get any RNG or any good RNG with the boons that we got for our cast until this one where we got the boon of Zeus, which gives us lightning strike on our casts. So that is super helpful. I also want to mention that right now I'm not using any death defiances, though I am hoping to get them. There's an Arcana card that gives us 3 random draws of our Arcana when we defeat each main boss. So we're just going to use that and hope that we get the Death Defiances. And if anybody here is new to Hades, a Death Defiance is just an extra life. On top of that, the keepsake that we're bringing in is Athena's. And Athena has a boon that will give us a Death Defiance that is replenishable with each room that we go through. But you can only get it if you're not using any Death Defiances in the first place. Hence why we're doing this. And here's the Athena interaction, so let's hope that we get the right boon here, otherwise I might just reset. That extra Death Defiance per location is just going to be so helpful. And from Ares, I grab his Cut Above boon, which just gives us free damage on any of our Omega moves, including our Omega cast. Now, thankfully, we did get the Death Defiance boon from Athena, so this run can continue. Now, another thing that boon does is it primes our magic. So, it basically took away 100 points of our max FP, mana, magic, whatever you want to call it. But thankfully, since we have Hecuba with us, we have 20 that we can use for our Omega cast, so otherwise we would not be doing much damage. Next, I get a Hercules room, which is cool. It's just free coins based on how many enemies we each defeat, and I'm hoping to be able to defeat more than Hercules can. And our casts are already doing some pretty decent damage with the lightning bolt from Zeus and the falling blade from Ares. It's not too bad, plus the standard Omega cast damage that we would get. Now, I did end up losing a lot of life during this room, but we did complete it without dying. We got our extra magic, so we're back up to 80, and we ended up getting 120 coins from Hercules here, so that's pretty solid. We also got a bonus room which gave us another 100 coins, so we're looking pretty good on money right now. I decided to go for an Apollo room because he has 2 very desirable boons. One of them increases our cast size, which is great, and we also died immediately when we walked in the room. Thank God for that Death Defiance, or thank Athena, I suppose. But anyway, he has one that increases the size of our casts, and one that deals a burst of damage when our cast is done. He also just has a really good duo boon with Zeus, so I'm hoping to get that. I end up taking Lucid Gain, which gives us our FP, magic, mana back at the end of our cast, because I figure we'll pretty much always be standing in our cast, so free magic. We also get another little bonus room, and we get some even more max magic, so that's great. We have a pretty high amount right now, which means we can use a lot of Omega moves, and we can grab some boons that will prime even more magic, because those tend to be pretty powerful. Alright, we're going for another Apollo room, and I'm not going to waste your time by making you watch every single room. We did almost die, but we made it through. And we ended up getting Prominence Flare, which is exactly what we wanted. Our Omega cast deals a burst of damage upon expiration. So, yeah, that's great. Free damage. Another bonus room opened up, and we get even more max magic. Awesome. 2 rooms left, and I decided that it would be best to get some extra health. So we go in the double health room, and I die instantly. Again, thank you, Athena. Our cast is still dealing decent enough damage, but we could definitely be doing better with a different build. That is totally okay though. This is to figure out how powerful we can make the cast, which, spoilers, it gets pretty strong. Yeah, it turns out casts are like the thing that you can add the most amount of effects to. I could be wrong about that, but in my experience it seems like casts you can add a lot of boons to that won't override each other. We get another bonus room, quickly defeat the enemies inside, and we end up just getting some bones from it, so this is currency that we can't really use within the run, but we can without. I also grab a Hermes boon and some more magic to be delivered at a later time. The last room I pick is the Zeus room, in hopes of getting the duo boon of Apollo and Zeus, which would be very good for this build. It makes us have more lightning strikes to those in our casts. We clear out the room before long, and we are able to grab the boon, and yes, we got it. We got the duo boon. Again, basically we just channel more magic into our Omega cast, and the enemy standing in our cast will get struck by lightning. Awesome. With that, we can go to Charon's shop, and we have plenty of coins, so I buy a Poseidon boon, and I get the chance to grab Tidal Ring, which will give us 120 base damage and another possible 50 damage, but I would have to replace one of my Lightning Strike boons, so I decide to just go with the Minor Finds, the Buried Treasure one. Free money and more money is always a good thing. And with that extra cash, we can even buy the extra magic and continue to the first boss fight of the run. Polyphemus is relatively easy, especially once you learn his moveset, so I don't think we'll have a huge problem. Plus, our damage is not too bad, especially with our new Zeus boon. We do a lot. If we can get an enemy to stand in both of the casts that we create and get him to stand in the middle of our laser beam, that is some really good DPS. So it doesn't really take us too long to get him into his final phase. Though we do lose a Death Defiance in the process, but it replenishes, so we're fine. Or maybe not, because he does actually take out a lot of our health and leaves us almost one shot. That being said, he's pretty close to death too, so we really just need to hit him with one more cast and he should be gone. Alright, one boss down, a bunch more to go. And since we beat him, we can get 3 extra Arcana, so let's hope that we get the extra Death Defiances. That would be lovely. And spoilers, we didn't get it. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, we got the replenishing Death Defiance, so we should be fine for a little while. And while we're in between the regions, I decided to switch out my keepsake, and I grabbed the crystal figurine, which gives us yet another Arcana when we defeat the next boss. I also order a boon of Hermes, and some more magic, which will be delivered at a later time along with our other stuff that we ordered earlier. The next room doesn't give us too many issues, and we get our extra magic as well as our boon of Hermes, and we grab Winner's Circle, which makes us channel our cast a lot faster, and it expires faster, which I don't know if that was a mistake or not, because with that we are losing out on a lot of lightning strikes, but it does deal the Omega cast damage quicker, so I don't know. The faster Omega cast is really nice though. The next rooms are pretty easy, and we get more magic from our order, and a choice between Apollo or a pomegranate, so of course we take Apollo. And from Apollo, I was hoping to get the increased cast size, which we got, but we also got a duo boon from Ares, and honestly, we should have taken the Ares duo boon. And we get another Hermes boon, and we take the one that gives us even more speed on our Omega moves. But yeah, the Apollo one that increases the size of our casts isn't really good when they expire so quickly. It doesn't get a chance to really increase that much. Our damage is still pretty good, so we clear the next room pretty quickly and get a Zeus boon. And we get air quality, which we don't have enough air boons to activate that now, but once we do, it's going to be great. That means we won't be able to deal less than 50 damage, which a lot of our attacks from our cast right now deal less than 50 damage, so we're getting a huge increase. We find another Hermes shrine, and since we have so much money, we grab a Centaur heart and a mystery boon and some extra healing to be delivered at a later time. And we run into a mini boss that's offering us a Zeus boon. Now, unfortunately, I'm actually out of a lot of health right now. I should have used my Death Defiance in the previous rune so that we could restore more health for this fight, but it's fine. We'll make do. We take out the ads pretty quickly with our casts and get to work on the boss, who is surprisingly tanky. So even though we have really good damage, it does take quite a few casts in order to even break his shield. Before long, he does cause us to use our Death Defiance, which is okay because we get more health back from it, and we're able to break his shield and then stun lock him until he dies. Yeah, we really need a boon that makes our cast do more damage to armor. That would be so helpful. And from Zeus we grab an ability that lets us shoot our cast and deal 70 base damage to enemies that are hit with it. We also run into Cersei, who gives us another chance to draw a random arcana, and I'm really hoping that it is the extra death defiances, but we'll see.
Go now with grace.
Nope. But it is free money, so not the worst thing we could have gotten. We breeze through the next room and we finally get our random delivery, which turns out to be Apollo. And from Apollo we grab Perfect Image, which is an air boon, which means that we can finally activate air quality. We breeze through the next room, getting 100 coins, and then grab a Poseidon boon from the shop, and I end up taking Ocean Swell, which gives us an extra 40, well technically now 50 damage on our Omega moves, including our cast, so even more free damage. Now we run into Eris, and I'm a bit worried about this because she does deal a lot of damage. We do have one Death Defiance and a little bit of armor, so hopefully we'll be okay, though she did destroy our armor immediately. And we're not really doing as much damage as I was hoping. Not bad damage, but not as good as I wanted. So we'll see how this goes. We did get through the first phase pretty quickly, and in between each phase she does get 100% extra damage minimum, so we really can't take many hits from here on out. It only took a few more seconds for us to lose our Death Defiance from there, and we only have enough health to survive maybe 2 shots from her. So it's not looking great. That being said, I am really happy that we got that Zeus boon that lets us aim our cast, because that makes things so much easier. It's great to not have to be up in her face for this, otherwise she probably would one-shot us. Alright, well, only 2 more casts should do the trick from here, so we got her into her final phase. We just have to make sure we don't get hit, because one shot will probably take us out. Well, I guess not literally, but, you know, a couple shots. And thankfully, we do manage to survive and win the fight. That was close. A little bit too close. I don't have high hopes for Typhon if we don't get those Death Defiances soon. But since we have the Keepsake, we should get 5 Arcana this time, so we have a pretty good chance of getting it. And we still don't. So now we have to survive Prometheus with only a single Death Defiance, and that doesn't sound great to me. I guess I could take the Lucky Tooth Keepsake to get an extra Death Defiance, and I might end up doing that. It's more important to get past Prometheus than save that for Typhon, but yeah, we'll take the Lucky Tooth. I guess the Luckier Tooth. And I also order some more health and some more mana from Hermes. We begin our ascent of Mount Olympus, and we get a Chaos Room, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that. We might get some increased Omega attack power, or maybe Omega cast speed, so either one would be super helpful. And I guess we'll just take the extra magic, because the other 2 would really mess us up during the next few encounters. Yeah, not the best Chaos Boon, but it'll do. The rooms here are actually going to start to get pretty difficult, so that's not great, but thank God we have that Athena Death Defiance, and that is actually going to be used before the Lucky Tooth, thankfully. So if we do die at some point, we are only going to be using our replenishing Death Defiance. Thank God. Thank Athena. Thank the developers for considering that. I end up letting this dragon kill me before we finish this room, so that we can use the Death Defiance and get some extra health for the next room, and it works out pretty well. And our choices for the next room are either more magic or more money, and we really don't need more of either. But I suppose money would be a bit more helpful, so we're going for the coins. We beat that room pretty quickly, grab some coins, and then we get a Zeus room, which is great. The more Zeus boons, the better, honestly. It is a boss fight, but it shouldn't be too bad. Though, that being said, Talos does like to move around a lot, so it might be pretty tough to get him to stand in our cast long enough to deal some actual damage. Or maybe not, because we just took out almost half of his health with a single use of our Omega cast. He did end up taking our Death Defiance, but that's totally fine. We'll just get more health and continue the fight. He's over half dead already, and we really only need to hit him with 1 or 2 more good casts, and this fight should be over. And we do miss the next one, unfortunately. Our next Omega cast takes him down to a sliver of health, and we just gotta hit him with 1 more afterwards, which we do. Thankfully, we can keep our Luckier Tooth intact for the Prometheus fight, which we're definitely gonna need that for. So we grab our Zeus boon, not only that, but we get 2 other Centaur Hearts from Hermes, and even though Power Surge and Double Strike are both good options, I decide to re-offer I really want the chain lightning one because that's just going to be so nice here. So we go ahead and re-roll, but we don't get chain lightning here. So we re-roll again, and we do actually get it. And it says 15 damage, but it is going to be 50 damage because of our, air quality boon from Zeus. So yeah. And all it costs is for us to prime 50 of our magic, which we have plenty of, so we're doing just fine. So now, on top of everything else, we have 3 Zeus boons that are dealing 50 damage every half second that an enemy is standing in our cast. So, that's nice. After clearing out the enemies in this room, we gain access to an Ares boon, and we don't get anything useful, so I go ahead and re-offer twice, still not getting anything useful, so I end up taking Blood Spree, which isn't going to work with our build. We get some extra health from the next room, as well as some extra magic from Hermes, and go for a Hammer of Daedalus, because I didn't know if there were any hammers that could help our build at all. Spoilers, there aren't. Well, none that I got at least. I didn't bother to look it up to see if there were, but it's fine. Everything's fine. The next room is more magic, and I'm just going to go ahead and skip that. And we get another shop, and another Zeus boon, as well as a random pomegranate, but we don't get anything useful from either. We did refill our health, so going into the Prometheus fight we'll be at full health with 2 Death Defiances. We should be able to take him out, I hope. Our DPS with these casts is pretty decent, so I think we'll be okay. Well, let's see how it goes. We start the fight off pretty strong by dodging a few attacks and landing a cast, which really does not deal as much damage as I'd hoped. It's a lot better when we get him in both of them, but that can be kind of tough with Hecuba running around the arena a bunch. So we just have to hope that Hecuba stays in the same place as Prometheus, and sometimes it happens, and sometimes it doesn't. Either way, we deal enough damage to get to the phase transition, which is pretty easy, honestly. My first time, I definitely did not dodge it correctly and died, but after you know what's going to happen, it's pretty easy to figure out how to dodge that phase transition. Anyway, he hops back down, we hit him with a few more casts, and we're just going to skip to the next phase transition. And just like earlier, pretty easy to dodge everything. It's just a left-right center simulator.
Incinerate.
So we prep a cast for when he hops down again, hit him with it, and we're still alive. We haven't lost any of our Death Defiances so far, which is awesome. And he's almost dead. Though I think we're about to lose our Athena Death Defiance. That's fine, we get 100 extra health, and we just have to survive. And I think 1 or 2 more casts should do the trick from here. Probably one good one. As long as he stays in it, we should be done right here. And we did it. Now we just have to hope that we get the other Death Defiances from our Arcana. Otherwise, we might be screwed. Our damage is good, but I don't think it's good enough to take out Typhon without dying a couple times. Let's see what we get.
Eagle's feather.
The Sorceress, Wayward Son, and Knight. Yeah, not what we're looking for. At this point, we have every Arcana except for 2 of them, and one of them is the Death Defiance one. So, I guess we're stuck with 2 lives. That's fine. This is a pretty good run so far, so no reason to give up now. I decided to just keep the Luckier Tooth on because we're definitely going to need that extra life at some point. And then since we have so much money, I decided to buy a boon and some extra magic from Hermes here, which will again be delivered at a later time. We clear a couple of rooms before finally getting access to our first actual reward, and it's a Poseidon boon from Hermes. I didn't get anything good from it, so I decided to re-roll, and I once again do not get anything good. So I decided to take Hydraulic Might because why not? Next up is an Ares room, and it's a boss fight, and we're already down to 15 health, which isn't great. I probably should have used my Death Defiance earlier, so I would have more health for this fight, but it's fine. I'm just really hoping we don't lose our Luckier Tooth here, because that would not be good. I have no doubt that we'll beat this boss. I just really don't want to just have 1 life for Typhon. That would not be good. It looks like we might be okay, though. He's already down to below half health, and I do know how to dodge his attacks for the most part, so hopefully we'll be fine. I end up getting hit, and I'm taken down to 21 health, so literally any damage that he does to us will one-shot us from here. So we gotta dodge and make sure we get one more cast off. I think we did it. Okay, thank God. That was way too close for comfort. Well, anyway, we get an Ares boon, and there are a couple of options that can help us out. Blade Rift in our cast would be great, or the Falling Blades would be awesome. And I end up getting the Duo boon, and I honestly don't even remember if I have any Falling Blades for this to work with. So, yeah. I don't know. It'll be fine. We barely have any health left, so I actually want to use my Death Defiance during this room, so I can get more health for the next room. At least that's what I would do in hindsight. I don't remember if I actually did it, so let's see. Nope. I guess I'm not smart. Well, let's continue with 26 health. This is gonna be great. I guess 31 now. Yeah, believe it or not, I died in this room due to my lack of health. But we got our Death Defiance back, and we get some extra health for the next room, so it all worked out. I also get some magic from Hermes, and we could do this Trove trial for an extra 100 coins, but we really don't need it. We have almost 1,500 coins as is, which is enough to buy everything. And we do get an Ares boss battle next, so that should be pretty good. I'm hoping that we get the Blade Rift in our cast. That would be super nice. Free damage. This is also a surprisingly easy boss battle for, the end of the game. So this shouldn't take us too long. I did get a bit careless and ended up using a Death Defiance, but it's whatever. As long as we don't use our Lucky Tooth, we're fine. And before long, this fight was over, granting us another Ares boon, and a rare one at that. So, let's see what options we get. Alright, we got Vicious Strike, Meat Grinder? Okay, perfect, we got the cast one, and it's purple, let's go. And we get a shop up next. Oh, this is perfect. Well, I guess we're at the boss fight, so we're about as strong as we can possibly get. We have 2 Death Defiances. We can restore our health with some food, thankfully, and we can get a couple of boons and some armor before we go into the fight. From the mystery boon, we get Apollo, and I take Blinding Rush, which will hopefully cause Typhon to miss some of his attacks. From Hermes, I grab Hard Target to make any of Typhon's ranged attacks slower, so more of a chance to dodge, I guess. And then from Zeus, I grab Power Surge for free damage whenever we use magic. And then I fill up our health and grab some armor, and we're ready for the fight. I'll never forget my first time fighting Typhon in this game. It's such a cool boss fight because they take away his health bar, so you have no idea how close he is to death. And if you don't have a good build, it's going to take forever and he is going to feel unkillable. Which is exactly what happened on my first ever boss fight attempt against this guy. That being said, this cast build ended up being more powerful than I could have ever predicted, so I think we actually have a pretty good chance of beating it. The only unfortunate part is that Hecuba is almost never close enough to Typhon for her second cast to ever hit him. Or his? I think it's our. Anyway, another thing that our casts are really good at are defeating the monster eggs that Typhon spawns in. They do just enough damage to take out an egg, as long as we get the Omega cast on top of it. Which just makes the fight a little bit quicker, and I'll take what I can get. The strat here is basically the same as it's always been: charge up and use Omega Cast and dodge all attacks if possible, and make sure to stand and cast when it expires to get some free magic back. Zeus eventually comes in for an assist, and summons some lightning to damage Typhon and stun him, giving us a chance to attack him. Thankfully, Hecuba stood in the perfect spot, allowing us to double damage him with our Omega Casts, and yeah, I bet he's actually pretty low health right now. Pretty sure we're going to win this here soon. We might not even have to use a single Death Defiance against him, which would make this fight easier than even Eris. Skipping ahead about 20 seconds, I was totally wrong, and he did in fact call us to use a Death Defiance, so yeah, maybe not as easy as I thought. But thankfully and surprisingly, his phase 3 attacks are fairly easy to dodge, even though they do a lot of damage, and at this point I know he's probably almost dead, so I'm not playing too carefully. I'm just trying to get off as much damage as possible. And he does cause us to use our second Death Defiance, which makes me really happy that we had the luckier tooth. But with one final Omega cast, we take out Typhon, beating the game with only casts and cast abilities. Now, if you enjoyed this, I highly recommend you check out one of my early videos from this channel where I beat the game with only Tula, the cat, which I think to this day is still my second best performing video ever, and it also took me like 4 hours to beat that run, rather than the 35-ish, 40 minutes that this one took. It says our clear time is 20 minutes in the top right, but that is totally wrong. It does not take into account any time that we spend choosing boons or in between regions. So this was more so a 40-minute run. Anyway, this was really fun. I very much enjoyed going back to Hades 2 for a challenge run. Go ahead and check out my other video on why Zagreus and Malinois are amazing protagonists. That would be awesome. If you want to subscribe, that would be even better, but no pressure. Your viewership is always enough for me. A big thank you to any members who have stuck around all this time and are trying out this new type of content, and a big welcome to anybody whose first time is this video. So, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.